Good morning, everybody. I know it's bright and early for some people, especially on the West Coast, but today we're talking champions only. That's why we're joined by the three men below us. We've got, from left to right, we've got David Gilbert, linebacker from the Jacksonville Sharks, who just won in the NAL, Ethan Graubard, defensive back, wide receiver, running back, from the Jersey Bearcats of the AAL2, and then Wes Bowers from Bay Area Panthers, the IFL, who just won there as well. So thank you guys all for joining us. Super happy to have everybody. We also have Krish and Matt from Prime Cuts, and you can't see them currently, but we've got Sammy Sharp here as well from Pro Arena Talk. We're going to be talking about the championships, all these guys' different experiences, and then ultimately kind of opening up the floor to see who everybody thinks would win if they were all pitted against each other, which, let's be honest, we all want to know that question. So let's go ahead and start with David. Why don't you kind of introduce yourself, and then we'll get into your experience real quick, and then we'll go around the horn.
How you guys doing, man? David Gilbert. Went to the University of Miami. Also went to the University of Wisconsin. Been playing indoor football for 4 years now, on and off, and played for Salt Lake City, Colorado, Jacksonville that last year and this year.
Very nice. I didn't realize you had played for Colorado for the Crush, I assume.
Yeah, that was 2016, man. That was I played with Coach Aaron O'Neill. So yeah, that was a little while back, man. But I only played a couple games with him, and I tried to go to MLFB, but that was when it folded the first time, actually. So.
Yeah, MLFB. Don't even get me started on that. We got one more guest to introduce. Jordan Barton from the Omaha Beef, which we will definitely get to here shortly. But Jordan, thanks for joining us this morning, man. I know it's bright and early. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, yes, sir. I appreciate you putting this on for us.
Absolutely. I think it's kind of an interesting discussion. You know, so many different leagues. I believe the talent level is really not all that different in all these different leagues. Quite honestly, a lot of these guys bounce around between the leagues anyway. So I think it's a discussion that needed to be had, and why not have it with the players themselves, you know? So it's kind of interesting to get your guys' opinions. But let's go to Ethan. Why don't you kind of introduce yourself, and then give us a little bit of your experience with the AL2 championship.
So my background is I played college at Allegheny College in PA, and last year, 2022, I was with the Oregon Storm. And this year I joined the Bearcats for the playoffs, actually, in the AAL2. And I was with the Bearcats in 2021. We didn't have a lot of games during COVID. But as I said, 2022 I was in Oregon. And then 2023 played with the Bearcats. And we dominated for the championship. So it was a fun time.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's go over to Wes next. Like I said, Wes just won in the IFL a couple weeks ago. Wes, what were your experiences like, and where did you start your career before this?
You know, absolutely. So Wes Bowers, linebacker for the Bay Area Panthers. So this is my rookie season, actually. My first experience in indoor football. I got the call from one of our co-coaches, Coach Keith. Once I was released from the XFL in the last week of cuts, I was with the Las Vegas Vipers throughout their entirety of the camp, and then got the call to come to Bay Area with, you know, new team, new staff, and things like that. You know, interesting story. Hopefully we'll get to talk about it. But you know, the journey was awesome, man. For my first experience of indoor, I learned very quick that the wall never loses. You know, coming from outdoor. The rules is a little different, you know, the two high motions, you know, 8 players on the field, and just really trying to replace the extra players that you don't have. So it was an interesting experience, and, you know, I had a great conversation with a lot of people that never played indoor before, and I told them like indoor, in my opinion, it might be a little harder than outdoor. The game's a lot faster. You gotta be more instinctual. You know, gotta be quicker. No hesitations allowed in that game, because, you know, you see the score, so. Like sometimes, like if you hesitate too much, that could be the difference between only giving up 14 points and giving up 70 points. So definitely a great experience. It's gonna, do nothing to help me in my football journey. So I was grateful for it, and just winning the championship. Given all the ups and downs throughout the season, it really, put things in perspective about, what a team with a good coaching staff can do for an organization. So it was a great experience being with Bay Area this year. I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Talk about an awesome way to start your career, win a championship in your rookie season, and let alone do it in the way you guys did it. But you bring up a great point. I mean, do you think your experience indoor would make you faster, quicker, more prepared for an outdoor game should you get back out there?
Absolutely. Just in the various ways that I had to move on the indoor field. Covering high motions is no joke. And just having to react and think so quick, quick on your feet, and really just be a coach on the field. I feel like when it translates to the outdoor game, it's gonna allow me to be more calm, more relaxed, and ultimately move faster than I guess a normal athlete would, given the experiences I had in the indoor game.
Absolutely. So let's go to Jordan now. Jordan, why don't you give us your background and kind of your experience with the championship this season?
So since 2020, I kind of been bouncing around a little bit. Started with the West Texas Warbirds 2020 COVID year. You know how that went. Unfortunately, didn't get to play a season. Then I was with the Wyoming Mustangs. A little bit of a hiatus there. Had a couple of coaching changes early on in the season. Is what it is. From there, I was with the San Antonio Valor. And then, here we are with the Omaha Beef, and it was a fantastic run. One thing that I really enjoyed personally was just going up against the best every week. I felt like the defense is arguably one of the better defenses I've ever gone up against on a day in, day out basis. Shout out to all the guys on that side of the ball. Really helped me improve my game. The camaraderie that was there amongst the championship team. It was really a great run. Going undefeated, highs and lows of the season, majority highs, but Matt, everybody, I wouldn't change it for anything. So I appreciate y'all for letting me take the ride on the Ralston Slaughterhouse journey.
Absolutely. So it's kind of interesting now that I think about it. Both of you guys, both Wes and Jordan, had coaching changes despite ultimately ending up winning a championship. So kind of interesting to see how that played out in both of these leagues. Real quick, let's go to Matt. Matt, you can speak a little bit on the talent that the Beef had on defense that Jordan speaks on. I mean, talk about some of the players that you think should be in a higher league or outdoors or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at it from the very beginning. I mean, it starts and ends with Draco Statham. I mean, that guy came in last season and just dominated the league as a defensive back, and then he came in this season and broke his own record. I think he had 14 or 15 interceptions this year. And like at one point I remember sitting in the stands going, are they going to stop throwing at this guy? Because like they just kept testing him. But I think he definitely would be a guy that I'd love to see like in a USFL, XFL, get an opportunity out there. And the sky's the limit, And then on top of that, just like, I mean, a lot of the guys in our defense, right? I mean, you got Jamar, I know, went and played a little bit up in the IFL. Ponce went and played. But I think one guy that I'd really like to see that kind of didn't get as many accolades and see what he could do in the outdoor game, is Paul Ortiz, the kicker. He's one of the best kickers pound for pound that I've ever seen, just like in general, right? I mean, that guy could literally have probably put the ball through the uprights every single kickoff if he wanted to, but the strategy said otherwise. So I would love to see him get a chance. But as far as the defense, I mean, like, I think any of those guys that played on that defense could literally go and thrive in any kind of environment because Coach Kaiser instilled in them a sense of like, hey, this is what we do and this is how we play and play at a championship level. And I think that they would all be great. So yeah, that's my take.
Well said. I would agree. Krish, what are your thoughts on the competition level between, say, the CIF, the NAL, all these different leagues that we're talking about today?
Sure. So I think it's hard. There's so many great talents, so many great leagues, but you kind of look at it as a whole, right? Like, I have a lot of respect for Coach Kaiser and the Omaha Beef, but if they were to come to the IFL and play my Pirates, I mean, it would be over real fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect, you know what I'm saying? But it's just, the thing is like the talent level and the style of play is so different. And so to be able to adjust a different style of play is hard. Bay Area, we beat Bay Area in week 2. You know what I mean? We beat you guys. So, in my opinion, right, no disrespect, I just have to say what I have to say. I think that the number 1 team on the screen right now is the Jacksonville Sharks, right? And the reason why I believe that is because, Carolina, I'm a Cobras guy, right? They beat my Cobras, and was I mad about the officiating in the game? Yeah, I was. But I sat back and I was like, okay, they did outplay us, all around. Sam Castanova reminds me of primetime Robert Griffin III. The way he plays, I think that's a fair comparison. But I think overall, you look at all the leagues, right? I think Jacksonville number 1, number 2 is, Bay Area. I would say, but number 1 and number 2 is really close. Number 3, so the Jersey Bearcats, right? A lot of people don't know about Jersey. They're a really good team, like really good. The talent level, if they had better facilities, which I know they're trying to get, they could compete with the best of the best. I really do believe that. You look at the quarterback they have down there, I had him on the show, but he's really talented. He's really tall. He's great arm. So, right now they're 4 and Omaha's 3. But that doesn't mean Omaha can't get to that next level. I know they're moving to the NAL. I personally think they shouldn't move to the NAL, but I'll get back to that later. I think that it would take them time. They're not going to just come in and dominate right out the gate. No team does. So, I think the Beef will eventually be able to catch up with, IFL and NAL teams. So that's my take.
That's an interesting take. Sammy, I wanted to go to you. You're kind of known on your page around Facebook and, the various social media platforms for the brackets that you create, pitting different indoor leagues against each other. So what do you have to say about the level of competition between these 4 leagues?
I think, up top in the CIF with Omaha, Salina, and the other top, I would say the top 4, because you have to put Gillette after what they did this year in that category. They're competent with some of the IFL teams, and I think could definitely compete in other leagues. The question I would have would be defensively how the NAL teams would stack up, because it's Ironman. But at the same time, if you put these 2 teams in the same rules, they would definitely adjust to it. It's not like that Jacksonville would have wide receivers covering the top receivers in other leagues. They would definitely adjust to get their roster acclimated to whatever the situation is. So it just depends. It's hard to always put the NAL and compare it to like the CIF and IFL because of the roster rules, really, in my opinion.
That's completely fair. I just thought it was an interesting point. So, David, you've kind of been silent over there for a little while. Jacksonville was kind of, I don't want to say that came out of left field, but there were some situations early on in the season where it didn't necessarily look like you guys were going to be a championship level team. So why don't you talk a little bit about the challenges you guys faced across, along the season and how you ended up in the championship and ultimately winning?
Yeah, no, the biggest challenges in this season was definitely injuries, but we did have a lot of depth. Shout out to the coaching staff for that. But I just want to know when it didn't look like we were going to be champions, because we were 2 points away from being 14-1. I was just wondering when that was. But we did have a lot of bad injuries, with DT going down early, Wade going down. But we just had too much, man. I just feel like we were too stacked in the receiver room. We were too stacked in the D-line room. Everybody knows Castronova is probably the best in the business as far as arena football. And our hard situation was our kicker situation, finding a great kicker, but we ended up O-line, D-line, special teams, in our receiver room, quarterback room, just basically making it so it really doesn't matter, which is weird to say because the kicking game always matters, right? But once we could stop killing ourselves in the kicking game, I think that Carolina did play us really good, though. They did give us a run for our money, but they got too happy when they went up 2 possessions in the first quarter. So we were able to walk that down. But I just don't see anybody beating us, man. We got too much. Me and Shaki got like 20 sacks together. More. He had 15, I had 7.5. So, yeah, man, that's tough. We got Jeremiah Price. It's too much. We got Renfro. So
that's fair. That's fair. Maybe I overspoke. I don't want to say you guys didn't look like the champions, but you didn't look like the dominant team that you turned out to be at the very end of the season early on.
It was.
All right, I didn't mean to overspeak there.
No, it was definitely a lot of growing pains, and the main thing is I think when we beat San Antonio is when we really turned the corner. Because that was like one of our first games with just getting Sam. So, playing against Sam last year and Albany getting sent home early, I just knew I was like, that guy, he's got something special that if we had that in Jacksonville, we could definitely get a ship. So it was great to have all that happen. But, we got Jabari Gorman had 10 interceptions. Skip Ross had like 7. So it was just a great effort all around. Like everybody had each other's back, and we made each other better because we had to get better. It was a winner championship or bust situation. So
100%. Wes, why don't you kind of speak on some of the challenges you had? I mean, we spoke about it off camera. Darren Arbay was your head coach when you first got to Bay Area. He was not the head coach by the time you guys won the championship. You actually had kind of split coordinators, kind of running each side of the ball. What was that like? What challenges did that present? And then what other challenges you faced as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, Coach Arbet, Saber Cat legend, San Jose legend. He was with the San Jose Saber Cats back in the day in the AFL. And then, just his whole news of him coming back really sparked the whole IFL and just kind of like the whole San Jose area, just, having a legend back in the game. And it was a type of excitement that you rarely see. It's like, like if LeBron retired, him coming back to the game, it was kind of something like that going on in the area. So, he brought an intensity to the game. And he brought a type of focus to the game that that was rare for me to see. Being a first professional, I was like, okay, so this is how it's done. This, you won a lot of championships, so I was like, okay, this is how it's done. This is the culture we're gonna set. So we're gonna rock out. So we're going through the season. Week 1, we win the game, and then after that, we lose the next game, win the next game, and then boom, it was like week 4 rolls around, and we had a quick little meeting at the team. And then that's when we got the news about Coach Arbet being released. So we knew like deep into this like very early on, but we didn't want everybody else to know until later on or until people figured it out. Kind of keep stress levels low and things like that, because we were like how would it affect the fans and things like that. Because as a team, we knew that no matter what, we had a goal to accomplish, because we all came into it together as the players, as a team, as a unit, as a brotherhood. Like we wanted to accomplish this goal. We had something that we wanted to do. Take a 1-15 team, change the whole organization around it, and ultimately win the championship. And, luckily we did that. And but the trials and tribulations, it was crazy. Just the transition of having one coach to now having 2 guys that have different personalities. How are they going to work together? And that was kind of the big thing. Coach Keith, fiery guy, energetic, and Coach Wooten, kind of chill, laid back, chill, relaxed, laid back, and it just worked perfect, like kind of a yin and yang thing. They really balanced each other well, and it brought a different type of feeling to the team, and like it was perfect because we had guys on the team that matched those energies, and we saw how they worked together, so we just blended together as well. And then when we were met with that adversity, it really just brought us even closer because now it's like, all right, you know, people are gonna, you know, expect us to both to, you know, sink because, you know, our head guy left. So what are we gonna do with the team? So we worked harder, we worked smarter, and really just bonded together, and just, you know, we had, you know, your normal struggles as a team, you know, the ups and downs. We were 12-5, so, you know, those 5 games were tough games in our eyes, but we lost. You know, we lost to Arizona, we lost to Mavs, and just those like losing games the way we did. We never lost by more than 7 points, so it's like you were that close to winning these games, and then, you know, it kept being that close and kept being that close. So we figured out how to get over that hump. And, you know, we brought in the necessary pieces and things like that as the season progressed. But, man, it was a phenomenal season. And, you know, our losses were major lessons for us because we knew, you know, we deal with it now. When we get to the playoffs, we got to what we had to do in order to win. So towards the tail end of the season, we just wanted to go 5-0, starting with so like with that Duke City game, and then we played San Diego Strike Force, and then we roll right into the playoffs. So like we just got to go 5-0. We go 1-0 every week. We'll have a great chance of doing what we said we wanted to do at the beginning of the season, which is win it all. So we ended up doing that, and man, it was, like I said off camera, man. I wish we had like a little documentary about it because it was, man, it's crazy. It was crazy, man. But it was a awesome time, you know, playing with the guys and just getting things done on and off the field.
Absolutely. Like I said, I would totally watch that. I think hopefully the IFL's got something like that in the works for their league going forward. The way they're making moves, it would fit with a lot of what they're doing. Jordan, you can also speak to kind of a head coaching change right before the season. You know, first it was Pat Pimmel, then it ends up being Rayshon Kaiser. You guys end up going undefeated, winning a championship, basically with the roster that Pimmel built. Talk to us about that challenge, and then basically all the other challenges you guys faced going undefeated this season.
Yeah. So I had originally signed with the Beef back in September of last year. Martinez, who was actually my first coach with the Warbirds back in 2020, had reached out to me and you know, offered me the contract, and I was all set and ready to go, you know, and play under Pimmel and Martinez, and then something happens where Martinez steps down, and then, you know, I don't exactly know how long before season started, but there's a team meeting with Ricky on Zoom, and he lets us know that Pimmel is going through some family issues, and that we're going to be having a new head coach, and it was going to be Coach Kaiser. And, you know, for me, I like to play by guys or play under guys who have, you know, kind of been there and done that. And Coach Kaiser is one of those guys, and, you know, so is Coach Tatum. So, you know, just kind of took it in stride and showed up for camp, and you know, we had a good camp, very competitive. Started off with Gerard Evans, originally first quarterback in camp. He ended up leaving, going to Salina, and you know, Tommy came in, and I mean, honestly, I don't think we would have had the miracle season we would have had if Tommy wouldn't have been our quarterback. You know, one of the better quarterbacks I've played with. But yeah, there was points in the season where, you know, it wasn't looking like we may have gone undefeated. I remember the first time we played Topeka, injuries were a huge issue. People were going down right and left. People were having to go and play positions, kind of like it was the NAL, just plug and play type stuff. Came out with a dub, you know, showed a lot of unity amongst each other to, you know, stick tight and, you know, not succumb to the adversity. Same thing with the first time we played Sioux City in Sioux City. You know, it was a louder game, you know, I'm not going to say tougher game, but they kept it around closer than, you know, what most of the scores were when we played this year. And then, you know, obviously the first real test for us was the first Salina game where we go in there. And, you know, before that, we were beating people by 50, 60 points. And then, you know, kickoff return comes back and we're only up by maybe 10 points, and it was nut cutting time. And that showed a lot about us too. So, you know, with any team, you're going to have your little peaks of highs and lows, and it's, you know, what you do during those lows and how you handle those highs that kind of make a championship team, in my opinion. And I feel like whenever we were, you know, riding the highs, we were all enjoying it. We were having fun. We were all together. And whenever the lows came, nobody was quick to, jump on anybody's back or point blame anywhere. We just, came together as men and did what needed to be done in order to, keep the ship going in the right direction.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the main things that I thought was so admirable about the beef all season long, and I'm sure Matt would agree. Every one of you guys had one goal in mind all season long, and that was a championship. And there was never really in talk about going undefeated or anything like that at first. When the season progressed, that became the talk. But really, from day one, everybody talked championship. That's all you guys cared about. So it seemed like the goal was very unified for Omaha. Ethan, we have kind of let you sit here for a little while listening to everybody else's story. What were your challenges like? I know you joined the team a little bit later on, but I assume that actually presented more challenges for you, learning a playbook, etc., trying to get up to speed while your team's in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, luckily they had great coaches, John Valentine and AJ. So really, it was pretty seamless. I played DB, and then in the playoff game against I forgot the name of the team from Georgia Lena Lions. They needed me at linebacker, so went in linebacker. First play had a sack, so that was just like product also of the coaching, right? They laid it out what we're gonna do, what the play calls are, and then I just went and did it, went and executed my job. So they made it pretty easy. I know the other guys spoke about coaches who have been there before. So these coaches definitely have been there before. So they definitely knew their stuff. They're definitely great coaches. As Krish said, the quarterback was great. So, I was just in a situation where they could just tell me what to do, and I go and do it, right? I'm a team first guy, so whatever they needed me to do, whatever position they needed me to do, I would do it, right? And I think that's what's great about indoor football is people can play different positions. The more positions you can play, the more valuable you are, because the rosters are so small. So that's just what I put a big emphasis on, and I just went and did my job really, because I played mostly linebacker this season, whereas last year I was playing defensive back. So yeah, whatever they needed me to do, I went and did it. So that's what I would say would be the experience for me. Challenges, I can't really think of any challenges besides like normal competing stuff. There are other teams aren't going to score touchdowns, but that's football, right? You just got to come back and do what you do and do what you do best. And we proved that we were the better team, I think. That's why I won the championship. So that's about it.
That's completely fair. David, I know you wanted to talk real quick about football tech. Why don't you go ahead and get into your football tech?
What, man? I got my boy Holiness. Yeah, get in the sprint. I got the defensive player of the year. You feel me? Well, on the lineman side, I bought my guy. This is actually my number one athlete right now for football tech. It's the brand we got. I got the gloves, all different colors, all black. I could get the custom strap. We had the playoff. We had jacks on the straps for the playoffs. And also got the compressions. You know what I'm saying? So right now, we trying to sponsor some teams, some little youth teams. All of us grew up playing football, right? None of us never grew up playing arena ball. There's no arena ball for kids. It's all football. At the end of the day, it's blocking, it's tackling, it's running and playing football, having fun. So, just out here trying to make something affordable for the kids, affordable that looks good, that everybody looks good on TV, that everybody, could look good in. My man's killed it this year, all year. I really appreciate him for that because he got a crazy platform. Like, double-digit sacks is not easy to do in any league, especially in arena. The goal is to get the ball out quick. So shout out to JP, shout out to Anthony Johnson, shout out to Trey, Justin Renfro, all the guys on the line that helped us turn Jacksonville to Saxonville this season. You know what I'm saying? And my boy Shaquille, I got to put him on. I got to shout him out because he pushed me since the first day of camp. we've been competing with each other, so it's all love. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You play against the best, you end up being the best typically. That's why all of you guys are here. I mean, you look across these teams, they're very deep on both sides of the ball. That's why you ended up winning championships. Krish, I know you're not done talking about the beef, so I'll go ahead and let you go ahead and go on your rant real quick, and then I'll give Matt the floor to kind of.
I was going to give one last shout out to the special teams coach Corey. He's really who got me onto the team. And I was mainly like a special teams guy when I joined, and through playing special teams, that's how I was able to move up. So shout out to him for installing a good play packages and getting me on the team.
Absolutely. Shout out to Coach Corey.
So, okay, this is not anything bad, right? So the beef are joining the NAL, right? I think, because I know their owners watching this, they should leave the NAL. Because the NAL is like a sinking ship right now. They should leave and they should go to the AIF, right? They could save so much money. Think about it, right? They could save so much money. And part of the reason why he moved the team to the NAL is because he's boys with Rob Storm, right? That's part of the reason. So I think that, if you're, whatever happens with Jacksonville, I know David probably, has a good idea what's happening on Tuesday. I know what's happening on Tuesday. We all know what's happening on Tuesday, It's going to be a great thing. I'm so happy, Tuesday news is going to make me feel like $1 million, for my league and everything. But, I think Omaha should do what's best. And I think that them moving to the NAL, it was for better competition. But right now, it's not looking like that. It's looking like it's going to be an Omaha-run league. And honestly, if the league stays the way it is, I think Ricky will be the commissioner. I think Chris is halfway out the door. I know Chris, man, when stuff goes bad, he runs away real fast. So I think he's kind of going through that. But no, I think, I'm excited for the future. I know Bay Area and West, I know you guys are moving cities. So I'm excited. I hope you guys come to San Francisco. They need you down there. It's a great arena. Play at Oracle. That'll be awesome.
So let's get back to business. I know that was a lot of business right there, but David, if you're still with us, I'd like to get to the question of the hour, which is, of course, which one of these teams would beat the other given the opportunity? So we obviously have a member of the IFL's Bay Area Panthers. We got two members of the Jacksonville Sharks, and we got a member of the undefeated Omaha Beef here. Which team would win given the opportunity of these three teams to play each other? And let's go to Jordan first. Obviously, you've got a little bit of a bias, but I'm curious of your opinion and how you guys would match up with Jacksonville and Bay Area.
Me personally, I don't care if we like to go undefeated, IFL, CIF, something that is historic, hasn't been done before, and just based off that alone, we haven't lost to anybody. I'm taking us over anybody. So if someone has a better argument than that, then I'm all here for it. But numbers don't lie. So
I love it. All right, we'll go to David next. David, you spoke about it earlier. You thought you guys were a championship team from the very beginning. Given the opportunity to face a team like the Beef that went undefeated, or a team like the Bay Area Panthers who also won a championship, why are you guys coming out on top?
Man, I just think that it comes down to physicality, man. Like, whoever's going to be the more physical team. I think NAL's a little bit more physical league. I played in the IFL before. The good thing about the IFL is you actually have actual offensive linemen trying to block the defensive lineman, and not one defensive lineman and a real offensive lineman. But in the NAL, you do get those groups in the rotation where it's all offensive linemen. But I'd say just overall playing Iron Man, be a little bit different over here, man. So by that fourth series, you're gonna see who the real football players are out there. So when you when you adjust for all the rules, and the difference in the rules between the games. When it comes down to it, you snap the whistle. You got to dominate the guy across from you. So I think we just got too much over here in Jacksonville, like O-line, D-line, receivers, DBs, and we got two-way guys over here. So it's a little bit different over here.
Fair enough. I've definitely questioned why more NAL players don't get their opportunities outdoors, given the conditioning level you have to play Ironman fall. So I can definitely see the logic there. And then Wes, I mean, obviously you've been kind of sitting here just quietly biding your time, listening to everybody else's arguments. Why do you think Bay Area would win it?
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like, actually, it'll be some good games. I'm not one to, just say, right off the bat, we're gonna beat, whoever. But I mean, I'm always gonna say that, but like, it'll be very competitive games. I just, the way the IFL is, man, I'm like week to week playing some very high talent. Like, man, I'm talking. You got NFL vets. You got it's a lot of big name people in the IFL. So it's no short of talent. And it really, like my man said from Jackson, it really comes down to physicality. It's a very physical game. But like the way we play the game is very fast. Very fast, very physical, very strategic. With some of the best coaches in the game. Just the understanding of the game, obviously you gotta factor in rules and different things like that. But like you said, snap the whistle. Who's gonna dominate? I don't, man. Just something about Bay Area, man. It's just like I don't know. I just see us winning against everybody. Like, mind you, we had some games like but like I don't know. Cause I talked to P about this a lot, so I kind of have Ponce. I talked to him a lot about this almost every day. So I kind of have some strong feelings about my friends in Omaha. So, I mean, hey, I love them though. Some good guys over there. I'm talking about it with Paul. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm always with Bay Area. Yeah.
Hey, well, yeah, absolutely. You got to roll with the team that employs you, right? Krish, Matt, I want to get your guys' thoughts. Who do you think is taking the championship if there was somehow a three-way playoff with these teams?
I mean, I have been very open with my opinion, and I will take this to my grave. I said this off air. Omaha this season could compete with anybody, in my opinion. I mean, like, this literally, and obviously, I mean, look what I'm wearing. I mean, I'm a little biased, right? But I've been watching indoor football or arena football for however long it's been around. And this is one of the best teams I've ever seen in person, play, whatever. I fully believe that if they were in the IFL, they would have been able to compete with anybody in that league based on the talent that was on the roster this season. So, I mean, to say that they would be able to beat Jacksonville or anybody else, I'm not familiar enough with Jacksonville. I watched the championship a little bit, but I'm not familiar enough for me to say, yeah, Omaha's going out there. But I'm going to tell you right now, Omaha's going out there and they're going to compete and they're going to leave everything they have on that field. And I fully believe with every ounce of my being that we could compete with anyone with this roster. Anyone.
That's completely fair. Krish, does Saxonville contain Tommy Armstrong and Dalton Sneed?
Dalton Sneed is interesting because I think he's so underrated. I mean, I watched so many quarterbacks in person, right? This year I watched 8 different quarterbacks. Dalton Sneed by far was the best. And so he's just so consistent. He finds a way to move around in the pocket. He has a great arm. I mean, Tommy, man, I have a lot of respect for Tommy. I watched him in college. Like, he was great. But, I mean, he's kind of older, right? Like, he's, 30, 35, 36? He's, older. So, I mean, age doesn't matter, right? Age doesn't matter when you're playing football. But at the same time, it does. And when you're playing at that level. So, I think at the end of the day, right, you got to look at who would be more consistent. The top 2 teams doesn't change, in my opinion. You can't put Omaha in the same conversation as Jackson. You just can't. I mean, or Bay Area. Like,
why can't you? There's one team in the entire country that was undefeated. They lined the teams up that were on our schedule, and we beat every single one of them. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit here. I don't care about the talent level. You just sat here and said that the talent level's the same in all these leagues. You just said that. So don't sit here and tell me that I can't put my team up to snuff with every other team that you talk about.
You're talking Rapid City, like you're telling me Rapid City is borderline semi-pro team. They're a borderline semi-pro team. So you're flexing about beating a borderline. My Southwest Kansas, we were trash this year. Trash. So it's like at the same time.
It's our fault. It's our fault that the teams that were on our schedule weren't as good as some of the other teams. I'm telling you right now, Omaha Beef 2023 team would have competed and been in the playoffs in the Indoor Football League. Period. End of story. I'm not debating it anymore.
They wouldn't have won a championship. They would have probably got knocked out in the first round. I mean, like the talent, like you need to understand the receivers you guys go against. It's just a different. You're talking about you take the worst team in the Indoor Football League. They have my boy Josh Crockett. Josh is a 6'6" receiver. Okay, so the talent level is just in terms of receiving. Now, I have no problem with admitting that Omaha was like they were awesome. 13-0. That's so impressive. But to even like sit there and say they would compete against my Pirates is laughable to me. It really is. I mean, Kaiser would not be able to stop the Pirates. He wouldn't. He just wouldn't.
Number one in every category, offense and defense almost. That's all I'm going to say. Number one in every category, offense and defense.
But it doesn't matter, Jordan, because we were playing semi-pro teams.
No, that's one team. I mean, look.
You can say what you want, but Billings' front four was on the Jets practice squad. Sioux City had a former top 10 NFL pick. I mean, it's potatoes to me. I don't see where the whole basis of the argument is coming, but, I'll give you your moment in the limelight. But at the end of the day, Omaha Beef, you know what it is.
Man, I really appreciate you giving me the limelight, because, I mean, I'm just speaking the facts, some people can't handle that. But, at the end of the day, right, you say top 10 pick, he quit. He quit midway. So you can't, like, he played 1 year in the NFL and then got arrested. So it's kind of like me saying, oh, the Pirates go against, Robert Kimbichi. Robert Kimbichi, and I know David is on here and he was teammates, and I'm going to be careful with what I say. But Robert Kimbichi has played for 2 different arena teams. So when I think of level of talent we go against, I think of guys who are coming out of college, who are ready to eat, who are right off the bat. So it's hard. I mean, I get it. There's so many great teams. But my opinion from what I watch, and I know the indoor game and arena game better than anyone on the screen, point blank. So I'll just say that. I mean, I watch all the leagues, no disrespect to the players, but I see it all 3 ways, and I see it up close and personal. So I feel like, with no disrespect, but in the reality is, Jacksonville and Bay Area would be a great game, but if Jacksonville played Omaha, it would be like a, 20, 25-point game. So, I really appreciate the limelight. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak the facts and say what I have to say, because, I just tell the truth. That's what I do, so.
Hey, we're going to find out a lot sooner than later, but all I'm going to say is we stopped talking about the sack record probably like, week 8? We broke the sack record in week 8 over here. I don't know who's going to block Jeremiah Price and Shotty and me and Renfro. That's our front four. I don't know who's going to block us all game. And the back end got about 20 picks. So that's 70 game-changing plays right there, I can say, just between. We ain't even talking about the Max and the Jacks. The Jacks went crazy this year with pick sixes. So defense wins championships, man. It'll be Omaha's defense against our defense. And who out of Castronova and y'all's quarterback who's going to make more mistakes is what it comes down to in the game. So, we're going to find out next season.
It definitely will be interesting next season for sure. Jordan, we haven't asked you yet. What are your thoughts on the beef moving to the NAL? Do you believe that's due to Chris's assessment of your level of competition, and maybe Omaha wants to face some teams that are a little bit closer to their level?
I think it's a good move. I agree with Krish in the sense that there was some turmoil going on during the season that we all heard about with the Albany Empire and Fayetteville Mustangs. So that's just part of the game to me. Being around it as a player for 4 years, it's one team. It's nothing that's unaccustomed. So I'm not going to hold much weight on that. As far as me as a player, though, the Iron Man rule is one that I'm not the biggest fan of. I know a couple of my teammates aren't the biggest fan of that either. But if that's what they're running with this year, then that's what they're running with. You got to adjust. But I think that's a weird storm whenever all the guys are playing offense, the guys are playing defense. I love the rebound nets. I'm going to be curious to see whether it's going to be one-man or two-man high motion. I think the one-man high motion in the NAL for the past couple of leagues compared to the IFL and the CIF. Like outdoor ball and indoor. So I know Ricky's been talking about league meetings, so we'll see what play by day by day.
Absolutely. We're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you there, Jordan. So I got somebody in my ear that brings up a great point that I figured I would put out on camera. How do you think a lack of a salary cap would affect this conversation? If there wasn't a salary cap in the CIF, if there wasn't a salary cap in the IFL, do we see one of these leagues stand much apart? Is it closer competition? Krish, I'm sure you've got an opinion on this. Let's go to you first.
Yeah, so Jacksonville, right? They have a higher payroll. Omaha, I'll say this, right? If Omaha had that higher salary cap, then we wouldn't have to be having this discussion, right? They would be able to attract players just because they've been so around for so long and everything. But in my opinion, with the new league, I think the salary cap should be, I think for the NAL, it's at $4,500 a game. So there's top tier players getting paid that. I know Scary Terry making a buck or two. So, obviously that's the reality of it. But I think what we won't ever get to the point where we can eliminate the salary cap because we just don't have, in this game, we don't have the type of money for that yet. But I think that eventually when we, obviously, there's a lot of things with guys. I've said this before and I'll say it again, right? To say a guy should be making $300 a game, not. In any league, in any profession, not okay. So they need to change that. I know there's a lot of, whatever. I don't want to say it, but I'll say it, under the table type stuff, which is totally okay in my opinion. I think guys should be paid fair wages no matter what, even if it has to be done under the table, because it's the way it is, right? Because it's the type of thing where, and I love when the IFL gets upset, about, they get upset when, certain things come out from the league, that the league hasn't announced yet, but they don't want to look at the salary cap. I'm IFL all the way, but I just want them to realize, that salary cap is not realistic for anybody to attract talent. So, at the end of the day, I think the IFL right now is the number one league. It stands alone, and that's why Jacksonville. I can't say it, but I think that's why Jacksonville's announcement is going to be monumental for the sport, and I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited because I think the more higher-paying teams we can get, the more competition we can have, and the better it will be. So I think if Omaha is in the NAL, I hope that they continue to have the same guys, because I know all the guys who play for Omaha will probably be back this year. I know Tommy going to stay in Nebraska, so all those guys are going to be it's going to be a long-lasting team, and it's going to be somewhat a dynasty. A lot of Jacksonville's guys will be back too. I don't know about Bay Area, that's up in the air. I don't know if Wes is going to come back. I could see Wes going to Omaha, to be honest, but that's my opinion.
Something tells me Wes has the XFL or USFL in his mind, as I would imagine. So does David and Jordan. Jordan actually asked about the IFA as well, so we'll see where all these guys wind up. But I would imagine we've got way too much talent here on screen for all of these guys to be back in an indoor league next season. I would personally surmise. But Matt, any final words from you before we bid everybody adieu?
Final words. One team in the entire indoor football world went undefeated. One team in the entire indoor football went undefeated, and that was the Omaha Beef. So it is what it is. We say what we say, but until next time, go Beef.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to argue this any further, but I just want you to go back and watch the games and look at. We have all this talent on the screen. Go back and watch some of David's games. Go back and watch some of Wes's games, and please tell me that you guys would be quote unquote undefeated, playing these teams. Like,
okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand that. I've never once discounted any of the talent on the screen. I've never once said that we were going to go undefeated against any of the talent on the screen. I said we would compete, and you made it seem like the Beef wouldn't compete. This isn't the time or the place for this argument, but you came on here and said the talent level isn't that big between these leagues, and then continued to say that Omaha wasn't as good because we played basically semi-pro teams for some of our games. So I'm not going to continue this debate. I'm going to get off the screen before I say something that I shouldn't. And again, until next time, go Beef!
A lot of respect that we're able to debate this. You can't handle the smoke, so I'll just leave it at that. I know what I speak the facts. I speak my truth. David knows that. Wes knows that.
Paul knows you can't go off record, man. You can't just jump up and start talking about a record. Any football, even NFL. All right, let's talk about the 14-0 Steelers from a couple of years ago. Let's talk about record. Let's talk about the Patriots that was undefeated that lost the big one. Like, let's talk about it. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to go out there and you got to play. And any given Sunday, you're going to win or you're going to lose. It is what it is. But the most important thing is for the players to be able to want to play this game so you can get the talent level. You can get the guys that were in the NFL 2 years ago that you still know names. Because right now, I'm going to let you know, players need to unionize because a lot of stuff ain't cool. And at the end of the day, nobody wants. Okay, we know we're not NFL players, CFL players. No one's asking for a $20,000 check. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to pay our bills. A lot of us got kids, they got families, and I don't think that $2,000 a game at minimum is too much to ask. But it's only going to happen if we get on here and talk about the important things. We could jump up and talk about who would win what, but at the end of the day, we gonna go home and lose because we can't pay our bills. So I think it's important to put that out there. At the end of the day, we all play football. It's brotherhood. It's a brotherhood. This is a game that brings people together. That's what the game does. But it's destroying the game when we sitting here talking about a record, and it's like there's a little bit more important to me. So I just wanted to put that out there. I want that conversation to be part of the agenda every time we get on here and talk about football, because that's what the players make it go at the end of the day. Like, nobody comes to watch a bunch of people. Like, they're coming to watch the players on the field, and we make these owners a lot of money. They wouldn't do it if they didn't make a lot of money. That's what it comes down to. So I just think that's fair, and that should be part of the conversation at all times. That's all I got to say.
I don't think anybody would disagree with you. We talked about how the wall never loses, it always wins. Well, there is no real wall in the NFL yet. Those guys are getting paid night and day compared to the guys that are playing indoor football that are facing injuries that are sometimes very horrific. But with all that being said, I wanted to give Wes a moment to speak, give his final thoughts on today. And once again, thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Oh man, appreciate the opportunity, man. I'm glad I could, be a part of this. This is an awesome platform. I'm glad I can speak about my Bay Area Panthers. And just, man, appreciate it. And for everybody out there, man, y'all have a great day. Yeah.
I love it. We should definitely get you back on for a full interview about your career at some point, by the way.
Absolutely, man. Whenever you got time and availability, I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And congratulations once again.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then Jordan, once again, thank you for your contributions today. Believe it or not, Jordan was actually the inspiration for this whole episode. He put a post up kind of talking about the fact that he thought Omaha would be one of the better teams given the opportunity. So thanks for the inspiration, Jordan, and thanks for being here with us today.
Yeah, as always, I appreciate you, Sam, and everything you do for the game, bro. Keep doing your thing.
It's a pleasure to do it for you guys. I really appreciate all of you guys coming on here, giving us your time, telling us how it is, stuff like that, because quite honestly, I can sit here and talk about indoor football all day, but you guys know it a hell of a lot better than we do. You're in the game, you experience all this stuff, so it's awesome to get your guys' takes. So once again, thank you all for your time. Definitely tune in, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share this with your friends, all that good stuff. We're trying to grow and get bigger so we can give you bigger and better content in the future, although today was pretty freaking awesome, not gonna lie. So with that in mind, see you guys in the next episode.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.